Hey, yeah, so yeah. You mean to test it? So, test, 1, 2, you hear me? Good vocals? Solid, clear, like, yeah. You look like you could suck a golf ball through a water hose over here. All the steers and queers from Texas don't look like a steer to me. No. So what's up? Like, what are you seriously recording me right now? Fuck. The worst fucking like job of fucking. Let me just kill a Stanley Kubrick film real quick. So yeah.
All right, here's a question. We'll pretend like I don't know nothing about Devil Killing Moth.
Yeah.
So, how did Devil Killing Moth get started?
Well, that would be a good question for these two motherfuckers over here because they're the ones who started it all. Dan and Anton. Let me just pass it to one of these guys.
Go for it, Anton.
Take it, Dan.
You got it.
What?
I know the history so well. Also.
Yeah, history so well. Well, we started like early 2000. Just started collaborating songs, and together we started a project, Devil Killing Moth, as a two-piece. But over time, with our songwriting and some of the things we want in songs, we started growing our band into the way it is. We started with Ryan having drums, origin stories. Oh man! So for the longest time we tried not to have origin. I didn't think I'd want to be in a band, but after meeting Dan, I met somebody that can help me grow musically and pushed and challenged me and it really helped with our songwriting, and I think that's part of why we grew together and got moving forward with the people that we are in this band. Do you have anything else to say, Dan?
Yeah, that's how it pretty much started, just like two friends jamming out, and we started writing songs together, and it just grew from there. You know, after about 4 years, we really started wanting to have a band. You know, having a drummer behind just two acoustic guitars is what we started off with, you know, playing coffee shops. But now we're a full band with bass, drums, and djembe with guitars.
So that's pretty much everybody in the band.
All right, I'm Dan Oviedo. I do guitar and vocals. This is Anton de Guzman. He plays lead guitar. Ryan.
Butcher it.
Ryan Galbraith on the drums. My little brother Hector Oviedo on the djembe. And we got Chris Dunaway on bass.
All right, so when did they join the band?
Ryan was the first one to join, and we put out an album with Ryan back in 2012. So that following year, about 2013, is when Chris joined in. And then the following year after that, we got the drummer. I got my little brother to sit in on the djembe to kind of just add a little more color to the sound, and we recorded the album with that lineup.
Wait. I got.
Tell me about how did they come and about you and ask you about coming into the band?
Let's see. I saw them 2011. You would say then if we did our album in 2012. I saw them about like a couple months prior, I guess, from our album. Maybe like 7 months prior. They were playing my house and as a two-piece that they started, and they didn't have a drummer, and I just saw them play and I was like, yeah, I want to be their drummer. I told a friend of mine, I was like, I'm gonna be their drummer. And then I went up to them, I was like, hey, come back to the place and let's, jam out. And I jammed out with them, and it worked so well that they invited me to play with them, and so I just started playing with them. Yeah, and then it's been like history since. But yeah, that's kind of how it started. Just like seeing them at my house party, and then I fell in love with their music and their sound. That I wanted that as a musician. That sound is like exactly what I wanted. So just joined with them on that, and then like took the 9 months. They already had a repertoire of music that they've done, for the last 5 years before me, and then we just kind of, my style of playing kind of like amped some of their other songs up. So we like practiced for like a month straight before we went in the studio, and just went to the 713 studio off of Nance Street and put out the Once I Used to Dream album. in like a day, and recorded everything in like 5 hours, and mixed it all, and most of them were like 1 take, 2 takes, and then put out the album. And then now we started playing out that album, and then these other guys joined. Dunaway would be the next person to join, and I can't remember the day. I think we went through a couple of other ideas of bass players that we wanted, but I think Dunaway was like our dream bass player. They were like, man, if we could only get this guy. And I think Dan had to do some fellatio for it, but I think it worked out.
That's what I heard.
Oh my gosh.
That's the story.
That's some behind the music stuff. We're not going to cover that just yet. But I'm Chris. I've been playing with them since about 2013. And basically what happened in about 2012 or so, I was playing with a couple bands in Houston. I kind of just moved up to Houston. And we were doing like more math rock, hardcore kind of stuff. That was the stuff that I was really into. I had a falling out with some of those people in the bands. And having just moved into an apartment that was so small that I couldn't fit my bass gear in there, I hit up my buddy Dan. I'd known him for a while. We'd played with Devil Killing Moth before. I'd seen his band Irene, and we'd had shows at his house. I asked him if I could store my gear at his house and practice there, and he was completely open about it, very accepting. He would let me come over there and practice whenever I want. He'd show me some chops, like he's a very skilled musician. So one day, Dan asked me if I would fill him for a show for them, and I was inclined to do it. I said I would love to. It was at Scout Bar. Yeah, our first show over at Scout Bar. It was a great show. After that, they asked if I wanted to hop on, do some more shows, and see what it was like. And I've just been jamming with them and having a blast ever since. This is my first time kind of playing music outside of a heavier, more experimental genre. So I've learned a lot about melody and a lot about songwriting and structure from these guys. And I really love jamming with them, and I hope that we jam for a long time to come as well. And then after I joined, we had Hector, my bud, come in there.
And so I've always jammed with these guys, like on drums and guitar and other stuff. But then I got a djembe, and I like joined them playing that and doing backup vocals, stuff like that. And that was like how long ago? Like a few years ago I joined, and then that's how I joined.
You were also in a band
Woo!
with Irene.
Oh yeah. Yeah, me and my bros were in a band for a long time. We still jam. So I've always been jamming with Dan, like pretty much my entire life.
Brothers against the world.
Have you ever thought of having double bass?
Double bass?
We always do
Two basses or like double bass drums?
No, two basses at the same time.
like jamming at the house. I'm pretty sure it's happened maybe a couple of times, but you know, we always jam and mess around with it. But live on stage, no, never happened.
Get away with double bass player with Hector and Dunaway on bass, because they're both like y'all both have like different styles of playing and both like take over whatever instrument you're playing, and I think it would be really difficult to like with the like Dunaway solos nonstop, and then the Hector like just like that funk bass that's just going off. It could work really well. I'm not saying that it wouldn't work really well. It would work fucking awesome, and we should probably write like that Houston band song off of a double bass. Yeah, totally. Well, let me just say like maybe some behind the scenes stuff. So me and Dunaway were probably like sluts for as a musician. You can agree with that. Like, you know, like I was probably in like 7 other bands as well before I started playing with Devil Killing Moth, but and you were as well, like, and I think we did, like, yeah, and I think that after hearing these guys, their piece that they put up, like, I think for me that was like kind of like a end point to fuck with all these other bands. I was like, man, this is like all these other bands are great playing, like, you know, like I was in like some really interesting groups, but like their style was like what I wanted to be in. So I pretty much quit playing with any other band to join them. But Dunaway's still a slut. He's still in like a couple of other bands. But yeah. But I mean, it's just you know, life's like, you know, we've all put this band into our like pinpoint pivotal, you know, what we're trying to collaborate and work forward and toward. You know, we want this band to succeed. I think most out of any bands that we've ever played with, and I think that's like a really good you know, notion to say how like powerful the music is and how progressive I think that all of our creativeness kind of comes from, is because we really enjoy what we play, and it really comes through with our sound. You know, it's not like one genre band, you know, that you hear they play in the same like pocket. We have like songs like from Oscar to Trail of Tears to Mind Boots to, you know, multiple genre breaking in our album that you're not going to get with a lot of bands. They normally stay in some type of field, and I think we like to kind of distance ourselves from every other song to a different variation of that genre, which I think is kind of a beautiful thing, because like no one wants to get stuck in the same workplace doing the same stuff, and I think that's a beautiful thing about DKM. Yeah. Next question.
So the next question is exactly about the songs. Who writes the songs? How does that work?
It's a collaboration. I would say that Dan and Anton have created so much work from already originating a lot of material already, and they kind of like the Once I Used to Dream album that us three did was solely them, and I just kind of brought my style of drumming to kind of like bring the songs a little amped up. And then when we started doing our last album, the Night in the Life of, we have so many different like, we're just always progressing and always moving forward to like what's the next thing. So yeah, A Night in the Life of was like a big collaboration of, I think, Dunaway joining, Hector joining. They've both been in a band together. They're in like Mockingbird Brother, and they've brought one of their songs over, and it's just kind of this like a lot of collaboration. You know, Dan is basically the sole rhythm and songwriter of most of our songs, and we all talk, he shows us the songs, and then we all like get together and then rewrite, reformulate, write lyrics together. We kind of do a lot of it. We're all kind of like, you know, yeah, we're part of the process. But here's Dan.
But yeah, definitely it's a collaboration with everybody, and Anton and I